very lucky and very privileged to have University College Dublin, UCD, one of Europe's and Ireland's top Irish institutions. And we're very fortunate to have Carl Casey with us today. He'll be doing a presentation just a bit about UCD, about some of their course offerings, and also just a bit about, what Ireland has to offer as a great study destination apart from the big four. But he'll get into that in a moment. Just before we start, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Cameron. I'm the business relations advisor of Sable International in the South African region. But today we are hosting a majority of our different regions as well, but I'll get through that in a bit of a moment. Just a bit about who we are. So Sable International Study Abroad, we're one of 13 divisions where the focus is on internationalizing yourself. So just a bit about Sable International Study Abroad. What we do is that our services will include university and program research. We'll do your university applications on your behalf, student visa applications, searching for your accommodation, and then making sure that you're well on your way to go abroad, whether it's flights. I'm just making sure you have all the necessary checklists as well. So as mentioned before, we have different offices based across Africa. I'm based in the South African office in Cape Town. We've got Uganda, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Zambia, and just recently added Mauritius. So we're very fortunate to have offices all across Africa because we know that Africa is a gold mine for hardworking students who would like the opportunity to go abroad to one of these top institutions like University College Dublin. So just before we continue just a bit further, I just wanted to show that this is an overview of the map in terms of the partners that we have. So you can see all across North America, Europe, Australia, and also China as well. But we're very fortunate to have one of Europe's economic powerhouses and one of the top study destinations for South Africans, but just Africans in general. So just without further ado, I'm just going to invite Carl Casey to come aboard. He'll do a presentation just about University College Dublin, but just in terms of how the event will proceed. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. But without further ado, thank you so much, Carl, for joining us, and I'll let him start presenting about University College Dublin. Thanks, Carl.
Hi, Cameron. Thank you very much. And good afternoon, everybody. I appreciate you joining and taking the time to do so. We have an hour for this, but biggest part of what we look to do with these things is hopefully two things. Give you that general information about lots of areas for UCD and the environment, the country, anything associated, but also importantly, connecting you with myself and Sable. Generally, you're probably already connected with Sable, but also having a face and a name for a potential university destination. It often proves invaluable. I work very closely with Sable and will be very happy to help them and you at the same time, or help them alongside you. At the end of this, you will be able to see my email as well. So any questions outside of this platform, go directly to Sable or come to me. Either is okay. And please do, before we get started, please do feel free to put any general questions or queries into the chat. If you are not looking to do that because you feel it's a bit more of a personal question, maybe it's to do with medical and you want to check what resources are on campus, feel free to drop those messages to Sable and they will forward those to me, and I can get you answers that way as well. But otherwise, I want you to just get any questions out, and we'll look to try and answer them. So if we just move along here. So as Cameron kindly introduced, my name is Carl Casey. I'm the Senior Manager for the Middle East, Africa and Pakistan. With that, I am based in region. We have an office in Dubai, and that's where we manage our contact, recruitment efforts, and admissions from the office there. So anytime I visit South Africa, as I will be doing in August, is from Dubai. And hopefully what that allows us to do as a university is be closer and better connected with the students, families and partners that we work with, as opposed to being only based in Ireland, and things taking much more time to visit destination countries. This hopefully gives us better access. So why Ireland, I think, is a very general question, but it's one that could be, the answer could be very different for every single person that joins us. Right now is a very difficult time for many of the traditional countries for higher education recruitment. So traditional countries, we would usually include the US, Canada, certainly the UK, and then also Australia as well. Maybe Australia and New Zealand will bring together. With each of those, they have political issues, particularly in the US right now. And what's making life difficult for incoming or prospective students is the changing in requirements. What kind of visas are allowed? What's the stay back options? How can I work whilst I study? What are those options? How do they support international students post-graduation? Do they want you to stay? Do they want you to go? And one thing that Ireland is looking to do is certainly be the steady option, the one that is very clear. This is what we're looking for. With certain programs, certainly at UCD, we can even tell you how many seats we have for international students. So we're very clear with what we need and what we want, what our aims are, and also then what we hope you will be able to give back to Ireland, whether that be some of the elements I touch on later with careers, etc. So why Ireland is a very broad issue, but it's one that we look at to say, with the exit a few years ago of the UK from the European Union, Ireland is the English-speaking country as a first language in Europe. So if you're looking for that continuity of language, or English is a second or third language, and you're looking for an English-speaking destination in the EU, that's Ireland. So we have a real unique selling point there, and why it's important that we're still a part of the EU. Longevity for you. If you're looking at things like Irish residency, then that travel and freedom of movement would be really beneficial for you. So Ireland has only got a population of around 5 million. This often surprises many people, especially when I'm discussing these stats with students or parents face to face. Everybody always thinks that there's millions and millions of Irish everywhere. And that's partly true. That's partly because of the nature of Irish nationals is that they've gone abroad. They move abroad as expats, exactly how my family has done, with my dad moving to the UK from Ireland and then going back and forth. So there's around 6.6 million, if you include the 1.6 million Irish that are not living in Ireland as well. So the quality of the education system is always incredibly highly ranked. And one thing that Ireland has been really advantageously able to do, perhaps more so than some of the other destinations you may be considering, such as maybe the US or the UK, is make sure that there's greater synergy and alignment between the education systems throughout, from the younger years to the secondary education and college to then university and higher education level, so that there's clear progression for students, and then from that point to careers options and how we involve that through what we do as a university, and especially important for international students. And Ireland is always incredibly outperforming itself, you would often say, for a fairly small nation that has been colonized by the British for a long, long period of time, and had to come off the back of that, being a very poor country then, from that, unable to feed with its own natural resources, its inhabitants, to come out of that and to be now seeing over the past, especially the past 20 to 30 years, real economic upturns, is a great place for people to come and begin making either just an educational journey, or also look at this as the first step of making a long-term move, as a student, and then what would be referred to as an economic migrant. You're coming for work, you're coming to make money, you're coming to start a family. And with that, these 4 elements, I believe, are always really crucial when you're looking for a destination. Ireland is always very highly rated on the peace indexes, ranking second on that, on the most recent one, which was 2024. Then, if you've met many Irish people, generally you would suggest they're very happy. I'm not sure how that one is actually collated, that information, but with third, we'll take it. It looks good. Then 11th on the Forbes Best Countries for Business list. And again, that there could be lots of other statistics written in that box, but it connects to careers and opportunities. And the biggest one that I always suggest to prospective students is a young population. 50% of the population are under the age of 35. In terms of you as somebody who might be 17, 18, or maybe you're 22, 23 and looking for a postgraduate opportunity, the country has this youthful vibrancy to it. The governmental decisions have to take into account your age group and your demographic is a real bonus. There are a lot of countries around the world that have aging populations, and therefore they're looking to a very different future than Ireland is. But I think that's a real benefit when you go into the city atmospheres, you walk around the towns, and that people are in a similar age group. So if anybody's been to Ireland, you will have experienced some of these. We won't read through all of these. You will have seen this, you'll have experienced it, you'd have felt it. But because Ireland is not huge, it's great to say I'm going to university in Dublin, but I'm going to live, 80 minutes away because there's a good public transport system, and that actually that's not too far. Or that I'm going to be in Dublin, but I'm going to look for work opportunities in Galway or Cork, and I still are I'm within a good commutable distance to my university friends who have stayed in Dublin. With bigger cities in other countries, you absolutely don't get that. I have lived in Australia as well, and moving from one big city of Adelaide to Melbourne, or Melbourne to Sydney, Sydney to Brisbane, they are huge differences. 10 to 15 hours on coaches, cars, to move between economic cities. With Ireland, you don't have that. They have a small concentration of growing cities, both in terms of population, popularity, economics and opportunities, that gives you more options is the largest element to that. And it's easy to navigate. It's not too big, it's not too small, big enough to get lost in the crowd if you don't want to be too well known, but also small enough to feel familiar as well. And you'll see mountains to the sea and the coastal. I'll show you an image here of how shortly of how that looks as well. Within Dublin, and as I've mentioned a couple of things on careers, this is just to highlight. I do apologize, do need to update this and edit it. It still says Facebook, but it should be Meta, for example. It still says Twitter, but it should be X. This is just a brief snapshot that highlights how concentrated Dublin is with multinational companies and conglomerates. You can see some of the biggest global employers here, whether that's in consulting, as who you can see PwC, one of the big four consulting firms, or whether you can see IBM's in computers, the big Americans in Amazon and Google and Meta. What this does is provide an environment for you as an international to A, look at internship opportunities when you're with us, or B, look for long-term career opportunities in Dublin. Ireland has, and when I say Ireland, I pretty much mean Dublin, has a huge concentration of these companies, primarily because the tax laws, so the corporation taxes that governments pay, are more favourable. So global companies come and have set up their head offices for Europe in Dublin. It just gives you an environment and career opportunities that may be more difficult in other traditional big cities that have maybe 8, 9, 10, 15 million occupants. Whereas Dublin, you're looking at maybe 2 million people in total. So you're competing with a lot less, but the quality and concentration of that quality in Dublin and Ireland is much more highly felt to you, walking from one corner to see Google, round the other, and there's Amazon. Okay, so this is just a light one. You can go online and have a look at the list as well for who else is there if you're particularly interested in anybody else. One other thing I will mention. So the medtech companies in global medtech, Ireland has the vast majority of the top 20 there. Okay, 14 of the top 20 medical technology companies have a head office in Dublin, and 9 of the top 10 pharmaceutical companies globally have that. Now, when I say this, it doesn't mean that, okay, I'm not a pharmacist, I'm not going into healthcare. They still need marketeers. They still need lawyers. It just means that they have a presence there and they have multiple options. So sometimes thinking too narrowly to say, I'm not in pharmacy, I'm not going into nursing, I'm not going into a biotech engineering degree, I'm going into marketing. That's okay. These companies still require those positions to be filled as well. So this is, it says after graduation, but this is actually both options here. So on the right of your screen, working while studying. What we try to do is make this as simple a process as possible. And it's not the same in every country you will look at. If you're looking at multiple options internationally, they will not all have a very straightforward answer to these questions if you ask them. So I think it's really important that we can say with confidence that Ireland has this set up. And this is not a UCD opportunity. This is an Irish government legislation, so that students during term time, so the weeks and days you're studying, you can work 20 hours per week, okay? When you finish and it's the summer or it's Christmas and winter holidays, and you, especially in the summer, if you're an undergraduate student, you might have 3 months off. If you're staying back in Ireland and not going home, you can work 40 hours per week. That's full-time work. So if you're looking for either experiential learning on the job, or you're looking to just build your pocket money, so to speak, these are great opportunities that you know that, okay, the rules and regulations from the government are there to support me should I want or find some work during my study times, okay? And you can see there the internship opportunities as well for professional experiences. And those, we have those from the university. Each university will do something particular to themselves, as might be opt-in and others might be absolutely part of the program as well. So what happens once you've completed your degree? Again, straightforward and simple. You've done an undergraduate degree, you've done your 3 or 4 year program. You are then allowed to stay back after graduation for 12 months. That could be to do nothing long term. It could be to go and travel Ireland, as long as you've got the finances to support yourself. It could be to consider your options and your next steps. Do I go for a master's program? Do I look for employment? Or it could be to find a work placement and begin an opportunity for work. If you've done, those same opportunities apply for postgraduate students, but that is then they get 2 years stay back. Okay. Many postgraduate master's programs, lots of them from UCD, many of them are just 1 year, but you still get the 2 year stay back opportunity as well. Okay. Once you've secured a role, secured a job, you absolutely can look long term to residency options. Okay. You would need that to have been employment. So we cannot, unfortunately, we cannot include your 4 year degree plus 1 year of work. That's not how it works. Okay. You would need to have done 5 years employment to then submit an application to permanently relocate on a residency permit. And that's just showing that an employer is committing themselves to you as an employee for that minimum of 5 years as well. Okay. And anybody that wants to have a look at these things, I can share some links with Cameron and the Sable team. You can see links on this. This is often in person. I click on these and you can have a look around. But I can share anything, or simple Google will often do the trick as well. So for ourselves, we do our best as a university to support you through that process. It's very, very rare that I come across any student, undergraduate or master's, that is not going to do a degree or a master's program without a view to secure a working opportunity after that and earn money. Very rare. Even those that are wealthy and could technically get through life on their parents' cash, well, generally they're going to a university to allow them to walk through those doors that have been opened for them through family connections or whatever it may be. You're getting that degree, so it allows you to have the credentials to move forward. Not everybody has those opportunities. So we aim as a university to do our best to help you with that. As a large university, and I'll mention some statistics on UCD in a slide or two, as a large university, we are often able and in a better position to help our students than others. It means we have the resources, we have the personnel, and we have relevant industry connections to ensure that our students, our graduates, are getting what they need. So this is just a quick screenshot of like one of the elements of how you can engage with UCD's career network as well. This just gives you the welcome mark. That's one of my colleagues. He's signed in here just to give you an idea of, okay, here I can go on to this, interact with, let's get started. I've got a clear plan of action. Fairs and events down here. Fairs and events, what's happening on campus? Is there a local employment fair? The School of Law having an alumni and current student employment opportunity roadshow on campus. Those are the things that we highlight. And of course, then jobs and opportunities boards as well that you can go and browse. And how we do this as well is from the first year. So we have the, apologies for the blurred picture there, it's just stretched. We have the Jumpstart program as well. That's for international students to get started on their career journey from that first year of entering UCD. Okay. This is voluntary. You do not have to say, I'm at UCD, it's September, I've done 2 weeks, find me a job opportunity and an internship. Some people may say, I'm not interested, I'm going to settle down, I'm going to get ready. That's okay. It's a voluntary service. Opportunity to take part, get to know the careers team. My recommendation is always look at these things, connect with people, and connect with the careers team, and that they know you. If ever an opportunity comes up and they think you'd be a perfect candidate for an internship, they know your name, they know who you are. I think that's always a really valuable position to be in. And again, just very briefly, because I've got a couple of slides on this, because we could take all day on reading through these things. This is just a screenshot from one of our graduate outcome surveys. Okay, and this is the dashboard that we have following the survey to our alumni of what we have. And this is College of Business, so which is then College of Business is postgraduate only, and looking at the employment rates. So nearly 94% employed after that. Okay, 1.2% have gone on to further education. So if you took this as 100, only approximately 4.5 people are seeking work after that. Those kind of graduate outcome rates are what you should be aiming for and looking at your university choices. A university that gives you the academics you need, that gives you a platform to succeed, and then obviously everything around that. And when I say that, we mention about student life, about well-being, about cultural aspects, which I'll touch on too. And with this one, you can see, let me just enlarge it, that this is just one that we can do salary, and you look at then what I was looking to highlight, the employers. Okay, as I said on one of the previous slides, there's lots of big firms. You can see the EY, so that's Ernst & Young, Deloitte, KPMG, Accenture, PwC, Grant Thornton. These are consulting firms, okay? Global consulting firms. Not all of those students will be going into this as consultants. They will be going into HR positions, okay? They will be going into, as I say, into law, things like that. So these are just giving you insights into what type of roles, what do UCD students go on to do. So on to a bit about the campus. And so you can see a bit that if you haven't seen anything, this is one of the main images of the campus. We have 3 different lakes. You can see that. And this is one of the aerial shots. So as I said earlier, it's some people come to Ireland for the geography, the layouts. You have at the top there, you have the sea. Everything, you see the road running straight through the middle. Everything closer to the screen is UCD, okay? And there's at least another third of that you cannot see from this picture. This image is probably another 40% actually that you cannot see. We are a very, very big campus. And again, hopefully what that allows UCD to do is provide things in terms of resources or people, facilities, for you to enjoy your time with us that others simply could not do. So I've stolen this from one of our brochures, okay? And this is just a more comic book entrance. And what I'll look to do here, one of the biggest things as an international student, especially for undergraduate students, is I'm coming to campus, where can I live? That's one of the key questions. You can see on this, to the right of this image here, you can see, I don't know if you can see my arrow. If not, you can have a look. You've got the residences for Belgrave, you've got Ashfield, you've got Roebuck. You can see all of these here. And both Roebuck and the village halls here, they are right opposite the village centre. So that's our student village. Within that, we have, for example, a 24-hour manned desk for student queries, for visitors. Your parents are coming out of hours. Universities usually operate 8 or 9 to 5, and that's it. All staff are off campus. For UCD, we know that that doesn't work for many people. So if your family are coming to visit, they're not too sure where to go, send them to the village centre, and there is a desk there with UCD representatives 24 hours. So it's those kind of things, as I say, that we aim to do to try and make your journey with us a lot nicer. So as you can see, all of the accommodation is essentially on campus. So it just makes your life very much easier. You have to apply for it, of course, during your first year, but first year undergraduate students do get higher ranking on that. We can't quite guarantee it for you, but we do try our best to do so if you do everything in a timely manner. Okay. So with all that, we are actually one of Europe's largest campuses. So you think of all of the renowned universities across Europe by square footage, both built up area and open space. UCD is one of the largest in Europe, and that includes, it means we've got 80 buildings. What you'll also see there is, as you can see from one of the images here below, is we've got lots of modern infrastructure, but you will walk around campus and see a more historical architecture from the 70s, from the 20s, from the early 1900s. So it gives you a very different, wherever you walk on campus, it gives you a very different atmosphere. It gives you new modern facilities, and it also gives you history. Where did the world famous James Joyce go as a library? Where did he walk? We have that, but we also have the facilities, whether it be simple things like catering that we have, okay, that are available to you. If you want to walk, we have 8 kilometers of woodland walks as well. So those things are things that you want to know are there, and then it's simply up to you as a student on whether you take advantage of them. So here's some straightforward statistics. If you haven't come across UCD before, we are in the top 1% of universities in the world. It's an incredible achievement to be in that position. We're very fortunate. So that it does mean that we're ranked 126th on the latest QS rankings. If that rankings interest you, I would look to say, let's discuss more options about what would be right for you with programs, with our professors, with our opportunities, before necessarily choosing a university on rankings alone, okay? Or rankings being the main component. If you are interested in rankings and that prestige of a university, what I could say is certainly what you can see here in the bottom left is perhaps look at particular schools or programs that are highly ranked. So things like sustainability, which is obviously a growing need, whether you look at the UN Sustainable Development Goals and how governments are aiming for net zero. For UCD, this is a university approach to sustainability, and we are #1 in Ireland for that, and also 50th in the world with an aim to move forward for that. Okay, we have approximately 38,000 students. We have from 152 countries. If some of you guys join us, and myself and Cameron and the Sable team all do very well, hopefully we will have more. Around 11,000 of those students are international. We are the biggest international university in Ireland, and we are the biggest university in Ireland. We have the most number of Irish and EU students and the most international. So when you come to us and you study with us, they will have an environment where it is likely you will see another student from Zim, or you might see another student from Lebanon. You might see another student from wherever, Nigeria. We've got so many. So what that does is like, oh, okay, the university have practiced this. They've got lots of thousands of students who have been in my position before. The advice they're giving me, what they're telling me, what I have to do is practiced because we've done this many times before, and therefore we understand what you need and the most efficient way to do that as well. Very briefly, if you are postgraduate, then this is particularly interesting. And as I say, for our students, 152 nationalities are represented. That will absolutely increase once we've taken on more students in September. Our staff, our research staff, 50% of them are international as well. And we've got over 1 billion in research grants. So if you're looking at postgraduate or you're an undergraduate with an aim to move into postgraduate opportunities, we are a research intensive university. So that absolutely suits very, very well. And you can see obviously the commitment that we have to research right there. We do collaborate globally. So we have over 1,000 companies collaborate on research. That's quite an impactful number. If you're looking at having funded research, we have funded researchers at UCD, some at PhD level, some at master's level, and doing funded projects. We've got 250 of those. And also, I think we want to, when you're looking for university options, again, the key word here today through this, opportunities. So we have the Nova UCD, which is the Centre for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and we've supported over 360 startups, and we'll get a new number for that at the end of this academic year. So that will have increased. So if you've got ideas, if you think that you want to go and be an entrepreneur, or you can innovate an already existing process or technology, again, we have the infrastructure to support you through that and help you achieve your next step goals. Very briefly, we do have Ireland's only veterinary school. If anybody is interested in that line of study, we're the most international, and we've educated half of Ireland's Taoiseachs, and that's prime ministers as well. And we will get onto some options here. Again, as I said, what we kind of look for is about how we can support you as a student. So we have the accommodation, we have the libraries, and again, like all the other buildings, you have those that are very traditional, and you have the much more modern and light and airy. So there's something for everyone. If you're into sports, we have the National Hockey Stadium on campus with us, a 50-meter Olympic-sized swimming pool. At the Olympics in Paris 2024, UCD had 28 representatives. So if you're into sport, UCD should definitely be on your list for that as well. Okay. And as you can see, just some images there of the types of facilities that we have available to you. And then this is, you've got the pool. We've got the cultural events if you're doing something. And that is also then both just gatherings, and it's also activities. Our UCD cinema that is on campus. And then the two other images of our global lounge. That is only for international students. So to have a space on a campus, there's a chill out zone, no academics, that you can just go and grab a tea or a coffee, or you want to connect with one of my colleagues in the global team. Their offices all border the global lounge. So if you want to go and say, okay, I've got a 2-hour window between classes, I don't want to walk back to the accommodation, I've already eaten my lunch, feel free to go to the global lounge, hang out, see who's there. You know, everybody that's there is in the same position as you, especially during that first and second semester with us. That everybody is an international. They'll have gone through the same processes of getting their visa, of then getting their ID card on campus, finding the best places to eat and drink, all of those things. So you know it's easier to strike up a conversation as well. So providing those sorts of spaces are really what we try to do. So just some accommodation images there. These are all very, very brief. And then we'll move on to questions in a couple of minutes. And this is the larger picture on the right, a small capture of the student village as well, much bigger than this. We have a supermarket located in this area too. And this is where the 24-hour desk is as well, should you need anything. These are our schools and colleges. Now, if you are looking for a particular program and you do not see it here, please don't stress. We may well have it still, okay? There's just simply not enough slides for us to list every program that we offer. There's simply too many. So this just gives a bit of an insight into the 6 colleges we have of Arts and Humanities, the Quinn Business School, Social Sciences and Law, Engineering and Architecture, the College of Science, and then finally the College of Health and Agricultural Science. Within each of those, you then have a school system, and that's where your program will fall. So, for example, if an undergraduate student is looking at physics, you can see physics listed here. But you can study physics as an option, but you could also study theoretical physics too. You could think, okay, well, at UCD only do physics, and that's not really of interest to me. But again, please don't take this as the full list. You could say, okay, I'm going to do sciences at UCD and physics is an option. However, I'm interested in theoretical physics. We have that, we just simply can't list it. Or the other option then is astronomy and space science within physics. So please do connect with us. Look on the website, ask me, ask the Sable team. Our website is, excuse me, is incredibly informative as well. So yes, definitely check that out, or again, connect with us, okay? Entry requirements and admissions. And then after this will be scholarship. So I saw a couple of scholarship questions. So this information now should help answer that. So each year for the following September, so we will be now probably looking at entries for September 2026. Those applications will open on the 1st of October. You can start applying from them, okay? Then applications are on a rolling basis. A program such as an undergraduate medicine program has a clear deadline. That is currently, and again, I would always advise checking each year, that is currently the end of January that closes. I would always suggest you do that well before Christmas. If you can do that in November, get that application in. If you have your supporting documentation by October, submit the application, get it in. Connect with us. We will give you advice that is streamlined to your scenario, okay? Many other programs are simply on capacity. First come, first serve. If you apply, you're accepted. If enough people pay their deposit and secure their seat, that's it. That program will say, sorry, we've got our students, no more. So even if you applied a month before the majority of other students, if you don't secure your seat, it's up for grabs. So that's how we work, okay? English language requirements, again, depends on whether it's undergraduate or postgraduate. But for visas, you will need an English language test to submit with your visa. So don't try and just get out of doing something. You will need to do it for your visa anyway. Be prepared. Go get an IELTS or a Duolingo or a TOEFL or a Pearson. They're 4 of the biggest. And I always suggest an IELTS is the most globally well known. We may be able to do things for the program requirements. We could look at your high school scores, maybe where your previous undergraduate degree was done if you're applying for masters. But you will still need evidence of English language from an examination, an official global examination for your visa process. No escaping it. You have to get it done. Okay? Scholarships and funding. So these are two of the key scholarships from UCD. We have the top level there, the UCD International Student Scholarship, what we call the ISS. There's no deadline. When you submit your application, review the entry requirements for the program you're applying for. Once that is done, and we believe that you could be made an offer, a conditional or full offer, myself and the team here in Dubai, we will then review the ISS option for you. Now, not all programs are in this list. The vast majority of programs are available for ISS, but not all. So, for example, a computer science program at master's level is not available for this. A medicine program is not available for this. There is no scholarship. So if you have a particularly competitive program, such as computer science or medicine or the veterinary sciences, and you know that you need some form of scholarship, again, I would advise drop in a quick email and we can inform you of whether scholarship's available or not. Of course, without an application, we couldn't tell you what percentage you would receive, but we can at least inform you whether the application is worth doing. If there's no scholarship for it, but you would need that, there's no point in you applying. So again, it's all about connection and communication. The one below that, the difference would be you do have to apply for this. So this is UCD Global Excellence Scholarship, GES. So we have ISS done at the point of application, GES once you have your offer from us. Okay. Now this scholarship can be 50% or 100% tuition fee only. So it does not cover accommodation. It does not cover flights or cost of living. None of that. It would only be the UCD tuition fees. Okay. You have to apply for that. As you can see, this year, the date was the 31st of March. I believe that we will be moving that date forward as well, in terms of bringing it further up, which is possibly more closely to February. Okay. So that would be really keen to keep your eye on that. So you have to submit your application, get your conditional. If you're still studying, it would be conditional. Get your conditional or your full offer. If you think you have an excellent profile, and that would be your previous academics plus your overall profile. Maybe it could be particular work experiences. It could be sports and hobbies. It could be associated to the program area you're going into. If you have a great, strong profile and you've got the academics, then I would advise you do that. For postgraduates, you also have something that does not come from us. That would be the Government of Ireland scholarships as well, but we don't show them here. You just go online and GOI, Government of Ireland scholarships. That's postgraduate level. We always, as well, tell students to please explore opportunities in your home country. There are often opportunities through governments, private companies, the students are not aware of simply because they have not asked the question. So have a look around, have a Google, speak to careers professionals in your school, speak to other university representatives as well, people in my position. We will all have different experience to be able to give you, and explore. That's the best thing to do. For UCD, I can give you exactly what we do and walk you through that process. So we do have opportunities there. Again, it would just depend on whether we are a right match for your program, and then of course scholarship options too. What we would hope you could do from this point forward is then go ahead, and I would suggest our Instagram. If you're on Instagram, go and check it out. Okay, and find the UCD Global. So you can see it here, UCD Global. There's two different things, UCD, and then the UCD Global is for our international students. So you will get students again on that are representing you and where you're from, or it will just give you a better insight. It is a really good information piece there. Lots of 5 things not to forget, what I wish I knew, all of those things. So have a scroll through those, watch those videos. If you're looking for more academic content, perhaps you want to know about a particular program, then you can see this screenshot I've taken is UCD Global on YouTube. Okay, so you can see the first video there. One's about the School of Medicine. The next is our Lachlan Quinn School of Business. There's multiple on there. So you go College of Science, they will have information on several programs. So that's your more academic content. Okay. And I would say more casual content, more friendly and quick consumable content, go to the Instagram. So that would then be, hopefully with that, that would then be the last slide from me. You can see here at the top, connect. I've said it, connect. mea@ucd.ie is our general email address, okay? Or get directly to me as well. We are not always based in South Africa or Zimbabwe or Zambia or wherever you are in the world right now, or across Africa. We always suggest that you work with us and with our partners. One of those is Sable. So with that, go to them. They will connect you with me or connect with me directly. I will send you back to them for support as well. So it's a multi-layered opportunity with that. So is that Cameron? You've just put the on there as well. So if you have questions, come back. I'll answer this one here, Cameron, just before you add anything. We don't really have online options for academics. For UCD, we're essentially saying everything's physical. So you kind of need to be. There are like things like micro credentials, and maybe some of the postgraduate certificate level stuff that could be accessed online, but that wouldn't fall under my remit. That would be done by separate teams. So I'd certainly suggest that you give that a Google and have a look and reach out to those departments. Thank you, Cameron.
No, perfect. Thank you so much for the presentation, Carl. It was very thorough, very informative. I'm pretty sure a lot of our attendees today got a very informative overview in terms of not just about UCD, but about Ireland as well. And seeing it as an alternative option, I think we always, especially in the South African space, we have a lot of people when, we're studying abroad is just associated with the UK or
Yeah.
or America. And I think it's just about changing those perspectives. Our just from a South African perspective, our two countries have a great relationship economically, and also just in terms of not just immigration, but now we're seeing a bigger trend to go to study as well. I think we just want to continue that and just raise awareness, because I think a lot of our attendees, just a lot of people just don't know that there are these fortunate opportunities within Ireland, that it's not when we say Ireland, we don't mean the UK. I feel like there is some people still make that confusion.
Yeah.
And the Ireland, you don't want to say that to an Irish person as well. They will be
No.
most upset. Even someone from Scotland, you don't want to make that. But I think just from my side, I think Carl, you've covered the major points. I think just in getting down, I said we did have a lot of scholarship questions as well. But I mean, just in terms of connecting with those students in terms of what's going to be a suitable opportunity for you as well, that's where myself, Carl, come in, because sometimes those questions, it's not really as simple, it's just a simple answer, as Carl explained in terms of how those proceed. So what we here to do as the agency, Sable International, we're here to sort of provide you with a very digestible route forward, I think, for you, in terms of saying, like, is this going to be what, maybe it's the accommodation that that might be covering a lot. How can we work around and find the right option for you in that sense? It's not
Yeah.
always just about the scholarship opportunities. Maybe it's maybe finding an alternative route. Maybe, you may be seeing that a certain course might be out of your reach. There are multiple entries to get you to the same destination. I think that's just the beauty of what Sable International and UCD have to offer. So, as Carl's mentioned, we have a strong relationship and a strong partnership with UCD. So, with regards to any queries about studying at this prestigious university, we'll be very much happy to set up a consultation. I've put our details there as well. You're more than welcome to get in contact with Carl. He's put his information there as well. But just in terms of, the process of an African student based in those 6 countries, or just across Africa in general, to get the process to start your application, do the visa process, as well as just making sure that your accommodation and your flights are sorted. That is where we at Sable International flourish. We have immigration services, and just with the emphasis on internationalizing yourself, with over 20 years of experience, we can help you with the process of getting towards the destination choice, like Ireland. That's why, just in terms of numbers today, we've seen the biggest turnout that we've ever had. And I think it just speaks volumes to not just about the university, but about the destination as well. It's a combination of the both that we have a lot of students
Yeah.
within Africa,
Good.
and I think that's what we're looking for, just to make Ireland and make UCD a very suitable option and just a feasible option as well.
Yeah, I think I just to before we go, I think those points you're making there, Cameron, are really good. And I just have an email that I just need to send. Um, I've written half of it. It's a student. She is in Durban in South Africa. We're talking. She's got questions. I've answered them. However, I already know that she will ask me many questions more. She'll have more than I will be able to give her access for. So I suggested and said, hey, I think you'd benefit from one of our partner support. Would you be happy with me connecting you with Sable? She said yes, because I know that I cannot be, as one person, I can't be there all the time. And I'm not in country. It's always really nice to have somebody right there. So we do have this relationship. If you're going through Sable, they may give you several options for Ireland. They may give you 2 or 3 universities in Ireland as options that they work with. You might have one in Finland, you might have 2 in the US. That's okay. What we then try and do as myself and the university is I try and have then a really good relationship with the team at Sable, so that they can also get the information that maybe they require to help you further. And the biggest bonus maybe of all, Cameron, I think, is via an independent application. There's a €60 fee. Via one of our partners, there isn't a fee. So if you're really interested in putting in an application, then yeah, reach out to the team and you can go via that pathway. I'm still there with you. You don't lose that connection, or vice versa. Okay. If you attended this event, still stay connected, walk them through it. The visas, with them being introduced now for some Southern African countries, it's a process not too many people know. Sable are experts in that area. So on my last trip, I was even asking them. I was talking with Brent and asking him questions to help me. So again, it's just finding the right people with the right knowledge, and hopefully then you can make an informed decision.
Absolutely. And I couldn't have said it better myself, Carl. I think, in that sense, not only is there that benefit of the application fee wave coming through Sable, it's the holistic approach that I think, maybe there might be African student specific questions that maybe Carl might not be able to, not to say you won't be able
Yeah.
to learn, but we can lean on each other as well, because we're providing the whole holistic approach. And in this ever changing environment where one minute there could be a visa update, it's our responsibility as the agency to keep well informed about these updates, so we can provide you with that. But at the same time, if you decide to go through an agency like Sable, we'll have contact with Carl ourselves, and we'll be able to give you the best of both worlds in terms of the approach, just to make sure that you're secure in making this big decision as well. So we've reached the end of our webinar. Time went by very quickly. I just want to say a huge thank you to Carl for joining us today. And he's got his details up shared on the presentation. I've put Sable International's emails and contact details in the chat. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any further questions or to start your study abroad journey to UCD in Ireland. Thank you so much for joining us, Carl. Thank you to all our attendees, and hope you have a great day further. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.